Karibu Uncle Sam Filling Station iliyopo Chimala mkoani Mbeya. Tunatoa huduma mbalimbali ikiwemo uuzaji na usambazaji wa mafuta ya magari, kuosha magari, kutengeneza magari na zaidi. Utakutana na main market yenye bidhaa zenye ubora kabisa. Shaka ondoa. Kama hauna pesa cash, tunayo huduma ya wakala saa 24. Tutakuhudumia. Uncle Sam Filling Station ndiyo baba lao. Wasiliana nasi kwa simu namba 0754937979. Nyote mnakaribishwa.
Jukumu letu ni kuendelea kukujuza taarifa zinazojiri kutoka maeneo mbalimbali, na hii ni Uhondo Online TV. Ripoti kutoka Wizara ya Kilimo Dubai. Waziri wa Kilimo Mheshimiwa Hussein Bashe akiwa katika maonesho ya kimataifa Dubai Expo 2020 yanayoendelea Dubai. Akiwa Dubai ameongoza mkutano mkubwa unaotangaza mazao ya kilimo ya Tanzania na fursa za uwekezaji katika sekta ya kilimo, yani Tanzania Agri Business and Investment Forum. Amewaambia jumuiya ya kimataifa kuwa Tanzania imeweka mazingira mazuri ya uwekezaji katika sekta ya kilimo na kwamba iko ardhi hekta milioni 40 inayofaa kwa kilimo na hekta milioni 29 zinazofaa kwa kilimo cha umwagiliaji. Hivyo wigo wa uwekezaji kwenye kilimo ni mkubwa.
I think you can hear me well. When we look at the and thank for the first panel, because when I was listening to the first panel, I see a lot of conflict of ideas and how we see things. And you rightly said initially, the equity component in whatever we do in agriculture or in development in the globe is very important. So coming to the smallholder farmers, we call them smallholder farmers. I call them small enterprises because for a very long time, the definition of smallholder farmers has been either misunderstood or wrongly interpreted, because farming, whether you have 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acres, that's a business of that person, and that's what we expect. That person will improve his or her life. So Africa has most of the over 40 countries have ratified the African Free Trade Agreement, and Tanzania is one of the countries among those over 40 countries. And I think we were among the last countries to ratify the African Free Trade Agreement. Africa is projected to have 2 billion people in the near future, and Africa is importing almost 30 to 50 billion worth value of food. But cross-border business in Africa is very low. Within Africa, Sub-Sahara is less, maybe 10%. If you compare with other regions like Asia and Europe, whereby Europe is almost 60% of the countries are doing trade. So the sustainability and attracting investment into agricultural sector and making the smallholder farmers benefit from their business, there is no way we can run away from the fact of trading. And one thing which African countries need to accept, this is a reality we cannot avoid. And if we accept that this is a reality we cannot avoid, the African continent need to redefine and looking at the comparative advantage each country has and nature each one. We are not competing. We must complement each other to get the benefit of available resources in our countries. If you look our country in Tanzania, we say that we have over 14 million hectares arable land for agriculture. We have 29 million hectares for irrigation. But how much are we utilizing out of that for the benefit of Tanzania and for the world benefit? Look, this is very important. And if we want to maximize the utilization of the available resources to attain the food security and food safety globally, the policies, the countries in Africa and outside Africa need to sit down and harmonize our policies so that we can trade, so that we can embrace that the government cannot do everything. The major driver of creating this global equity is the private sector. So the private sector need to get a favorable investment area so that they can put their money, and even these smallholders are investors because they have the land. If they have an assured market, there is a favorable policies for them to put their time and investment in those areas to produce what is required on the other area. And always one part of the country, of the Africa will have food surplus, on the other part of the continent will have a deficit of the food. So we need to create this balance by accepting the realities which are in front of us. And bad thing is that, and I'm from Africa, and we think that if the population is going to be 2 billion people, and the global population by 2050 will be 9 billion people, the global demand of food will increase by 50%. These are the statistics which are in front of us. So we need to sit down as an African continent, as a well together, to harmonize our policies and make sure that we realize now the global direction has to change. That there is some other part of the world whereby you cannot increase investment of the capital because the opportunity to produce are either limited or they have already reached at the maturity level. But there is a virgin land and there is a huge population of youth in another part of the world which needs investment so that to unlock opportunities and create the balance we want in the world. So that's what I want to say. For us to attract investment with us in the smallholder fields and the farmers, one, we have to embrace our trade. And I'm happy I had the Eat Foundation. They speak about food very much and the nutrition and the likes. But they will we will only attain the nutrition and the food security if we understand that food is the biggest business globally, in which we will not run away from that. And for us to understand that, we should sit down on the drawing table and talk to the people. I saw Martin and the World Bank people and other big organizations that they should now start looking at the best incentive mechanism to transfer the capital from the matured countries whereby there is no bigger opportunity to increase production, and take those capital to the areas whereby there is a huge potential of maximizing the production of this world and create the global equity of the trade. And that is the only way we can attract investment to the smallholder farmers.
Honorable Minister, as Agra, I'm going to come back to you on that. Corruption. It's not every time that we come here and talk about corruption, but I'm really happy to hear you talk about that as something we need to be addressing. Sometimes you come to these meetings and it's considered the elephant in the room. So when we actually address some of these challenges, it's really important. So thank you for bringing that up. Can you please pass the microphone to my colleague from Tanzania? 2 things, your call to action.
Thank you, Agnes. One, as I said initially, the food system and sustainability of agriculture, and to make this world safe, there is 2 major commitments as a government. We have decided that we should put much effort, and these are driven by the investment and the market. So these 2 variables are the one which all our strategy on food system, they will be surrounded in those areas. One, as a country, we decided that, as my fellow brothers here said, that investment has become and capital has become very expensive to the smallholder farmers. They cannot attain the interest rates of 20%, 30%. They cannot do it. So as a government, what we have decided is to develop some guarantee schemes and reduce the interest rate to single digit, so that the smallholder farmers and people in the value chain, they can access capital at less than 10% interest rate, so that they can invest in long-term investment like irrigations, infrastructure development, storage facility, and the like. On the other aspect is the R&D, research and development, because private sector cannot take their money into that area. So the government has decided to put most of its investment on the research and development, extension services. We have like this year we are rolling out a bigger program of doing soil analysis by making sure that the soil analysis equipment are taken to the ward level. We have 12,000 wards in our country, and we make sure that every ward has the equipment to do initial analysis of the soil health, so that to give the farmers necessary information of understanding the status of the health of their soil. And this is a free service given by the government. And the seed multiplication, research and development. But on the market aspect, as we spoke about African trade, free trade and the like, we decided as a government that every year we are almost 25 to 30% food surplus. And this, if it will not go to the market, the smallholder farmers, they will not be having interest on going back to their farms. So as the government, we decided to open up selling centers along our neighbors. And I thank very much, I've seen my brother in Uganda here. He has been one of my biggest off-taker of rice for this year. And we import shortage of the sugar from Uganda, and there is a free movement of goods and services. We put up facilities in South Sudan, and we put up some facility on other part of the world, so that to attract the trade and make sure that that trade attract investment, and the government will put much investment on irrigation as a way to make sure farmers get the access to the market and produce, and develop a scheme of one farmer, 4 crops, so that we can allow the farmers have the liquidity throughout the year. So that is the strategy we are building around the food system, on what the private sector will put in and what the government will put in together to attain the objective we want to attain.
So I'm hearing your biggest call is public-private investments and partnerships. So we will watch that space, Minister.
Karibu Uncle Sam Filling Station iliyopo Chimala mkoani Mbeya. Tunatoa huduma mbalimbali ikiwemo uuzaji na usambazaji wa mafuta ya magari, kuosha magari, kutengeneza magari, na zaidi utakutana na main market yenye bidhaa zenye ubora kabisa. Shaka ondoa. Kama hauna pesa cash, tunayo huduma ya wakala saa 24. Tutakuhudumia. Uncle Sam Filling Station ndiyo babalao. Wasiliana nasi kwa simu namba 0754937979. Nyote mnakaribishwa.